Mr. Nyambi, thank you for your time. Just explain which team you belong to that comes from the National Parliament and why are you there?
The national government decided to invoke Section 100, subsection 1 of the Constitution. Then, in terms of the Constitution, if you invoke Section 100, you write a letter to the National Council of Provinces after the intervention. Then the National Council of Provinces, in dealing with the Section 100, within 180 days, must make it a point that we do our part in approving or not approving the intervention. So we decided as a National Council of Provinces to have an Ad-Hoc Committee that will check the situation of Northwest. So we started by engaging the interministerial task team led by Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, who's leading the interministerial task team called the IMTT. They presented to us. After dealing with them, we engaged Treasury. After Treasury, it was the issue of Auditor General. Then from there, we extended the invitation to the Cabinet of Northwest Province. That was led by the current Premier, Professor Mohoro, to present the situation of Northwest. Then we decided to develop a program that is taking us out of Parliament to come to Northwest Province. We are divided into two groups. There's a group that is in Klerksdorp and Potchefstroom. Then there's a group that is in this side of Mafikeng, the one that I'm leading. So we identify a number of sites and a number of departments for the entire week so that we can get a sense of the situation, so that when we go back to the National Council of Provinces in Parliament, we're going to be able to compile a report that will make us to be able to come with clear recommendations when it comes to accepting or not accepting what has been done by the national government.
All right, so what is key and what you've just told me is very clear, that you lead a team from the National Council of Provinces and the Ad-Hoc Committee that is now on the ground in the Northwest. Is it your first time that you are arriving there, and what will be the key determinants of you supporting this intervention or not supporting the intervention?
It's the first time arriving in Northwest. We decided to dedicate the entire week, but to be able to cover much ground as we possibly can. We have identified Provincial Hospital Mafikeng. We have identified the Department of Social Development, to meet even the leadership of NEHAO that was central when this thing has started, and to meet, visit sites, check the roads, assess the municipalities. The first time visiting, but in terms of dealing with the issues, it's not the first time, because we have had 3 meetings with the interministerial task team, and beyond that, we have invited Treasury to present the situation, because we're looking at governance, we're looking at supply chain management, we're looking at the issue of contracts, and we're looking at the issue of coordination, so that we can be able, when we get back to Parliament, to come to a clear conclusion. What is the situation? What are the challenges? What is the way forward? What is our view to assist the House to arrive at a correct conclusion?
All right, we'll leave it there for the moment. Unfortunately, that line also not very clear, but I think we've got the gist of why you are there, Mr. Jomo Nyambi. He leads an Ad-Hoc Committee that comes from the National Council of Provinces. They are on the ground in the Northwest for the first time, and they are there to essentially determine whether they are going to support this intervention by national government into the troubles in that particular province. And the key determinants, as you heard him say, some of them will be looking at issues of supply chain and in particular the contracts that would have been given out by the various departments in the Northwest. Well,